Welcome to the Sunday, December 10th edition of the PFF Forecast. We are live Sunday night after what should have been, what we thought was going to be an exciting Sunday night game, a division battle between the Eagles and the Cowboys. Turns out, Eagles not very good. We'll discuss that. We're also going to talk about who the best team is in the AFC after watching the Chiefs crumble again, as has been predicted on this here podcast last Sunday. Also, who is going to win the MVP? And of course, week 15, we'll get into it. We'll start guessing the lines. It will be a great show. Let's rock. Last Sunday, I took the Eagles. I was excited about them. I was excited about them all week. I doubled down on it again today, plus 3.5. It turns out that the only thing they could have covered with 3.5 was the number of turnovers they had in the game. So didn't quite work out. They just finished a gauntlet of a stretch, bookended by games against the Cowboys. Finish up with losses against the Niners and the Cowboys in decisive fashion. What's interesting is they are still in the driver's seat to win the division, but this does basically give the Niners, pending that the Niners win out, they obviously have that game against Baltimore. This does give the Niners the 1 seed. So that means that the Eagles would have to go, or the Cowboys would have to go to San Francisco. How big? I'm just curious, real quick. How big of a favorite should San Francisco be to win the Super Bowl right now?
Pretty sizable. I mean, the AFC, which we'll get into, is just not. The top trio in the NFC is a better trio. So maybe you could also argue, tougher path potentially in that NFC Championship game in particular. But yeah, the Niners should be the heavy favorite for right now.
Right now, San Francisco plus 260. Baltimore 6-1, Miami 7-1, Philly and Kansas City are both tied with Dallas at plus 750. Arjun, are any of those mispriced in your opinion?
No, they're not. I mean, San Francisco is just a juggernaut with Debo healthy and Kittle healthy. Purdy's playing well, just distributing the ball. I mean, both Ayuk and Debo had over 120 yards. It's just tough to see anyone stopping this team with basically all of their stars healthy. I guess the only main injury they've suffered this season is Hufanga, who tore his ACL. But outside of that, this is one of the most healthy teams in the NFL. And it's just tough to see anyone really beating them, especially if it runs through San Francisco.
I concur. I do think the Ravens game is going to be very interesting. Ravens weren't overly impressive today, but I still believe that's the defense best suited to kind of confuse the Niners a little bit. I didn't think it was going to be the Seahawks, to be extremely clear. So Drew Lock and the Seahawks, they didn't cover the game, came close. Let's talk AFC. So the Bills go into Kansas City. I don't know if we want to give them full credit for a win there, but I will say I thought it was great, especially given all that they went through this week. And I don't know about you guys, but obviously what McDermott said however many years ago in what must have been the most hilarious and awkward and awful pregame speech of all time, terrible. But I made it through one of the 3-piece hit pieces that was published. I am not sure what Sean McDermott did to that man's family, but there's got to be something there, because that was honestly impressive. So I was happy to see the Bills end up coming out with a W there. And it was kind of cool to see, after the game, the Bills were clearly backing their coach, and we're excited to kind of, win that game given the week that transpired. I will go last here. We'll go to you first, Brad. The best team in the AFC is who?
I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. I agree they weren't particularly impressive today. We kind of thought they'd have a sizable advantage against this Rams team. I think we do all respect the Rams, though. So it's not like it was an ugly win. It's not like it was a bad win. Like it's a good football team you're playing. Stafford was lights out for a lot of this game. Puka and Cooper Kupp made a bunch of plays. But they're top 7 in offensive, defensive EPA, and offensive defensive success rate. Only team in the NFL I know it's kind of an arbitrary cutoff, but top 7 in all 4 of those categories. And just the talent they have. They're also, outside of Mark Andrews, a pretty healthy football team too, particularly on that defense. And so that can swing, but they have bodies. They have a good rotation right now. And it's just the balance on both sides for me. Like I want to say Miami, but the Jalen Phillips loss to me is just huge. And so I'm just not there yet.
Yeah, we need to see Miami beat an actual team or an actual contender first before I think we anoint them, even if they are talented. And yeah, I would go with the Ravens also as the best team. Right now in the AFC, probably the only team with a top 5 QB and a top 5 defense, and usually that's a pretty winning combo when it comes to winning in the playoffs and making it far in the playoffs. Lamar, he played well today. I think the touchdown he threw to end the game was really nice, and then the 2-point conversion was also really nice. I think he's playing really well right now. And I mean, Isaiah Likely's been stepping up. They've been able to sustain the loss of Mark Andrews, which I thought was a problem for them in the weeks leading up to the bye. But it seems like they've figured out how to integrate Isaiah Likely, which I think is a big step forward for their offense. So yeah, I would go with the Ravens right now, and I don't know if there's anyone I'd put close to them.
I'm not surprised that you guys both went with the Ravens, but are you excited about the fact that they beat a team from Los Angeles on a punt return in terrible weather? Was that galvanizing for you guys in your belief in them?
No, the bigger thing for me was Odell kind of looks like Odell right now over a number of weeks. Nice revenge game for him. It's more just the pieces and the players that I had questions about that are starting to kind of play better football and make good plays. But no, like I said, yeah, it wasn't an overly impressive win. But I don't know. It's also not a bad win. It's the Rams are probably a playoff team at this point, and the NFL stinks. So just get a W and keep it moving.
Okay. All right. Look, I think that it's right that they are the betting favorite to win coming out of the AFC, but they're not the best team in the AFC. The best team in the AFC with the best quarterback in the AFC are the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the AFC. I love what Lamar Jackson is doing. Quarterback is just so important. Josh Allen is playing really, really well. I think he played really well today. Everyone's going to, on Get Up tomorrow, they're going to talk about his turnover. I'm sure they're going to spend 25 minutes on that. We're going to get some really good takes from Rex Ryan and Bart Scott about that turnover and what that means for their future. But he's the best quarterback. He's playing the best with a team around him that is actually capable of winning a game. You can't say the same about Mahomes and the Chiefs, because Mahomes is playing really, really well. And the team around him is comprised of legitimate junior college receivers, a tight end whose best skill set right now is throwing laterals, an offensive line that couldn't block me, and a defense that, it's a defense. So I think it's the Bills. Now, the Bills have an outside shot here only because, or are on the outside looking in because of their current record. But I think if you re-racked it all starting today, the Bills are the team that comes out of it. But I do think they make the playoffs at this point. Why not the Bills for you guys?
So Allen was spectacular today. The throw to Latavius Murray on the sideline was absolutely preposterous. He needed a couple other rifles, but his pressure to sack stuff today was, I think, pretty troubling. He took a bunch of just terrible sacks, or should have taken a bunch more. Overcame it. I didn't mind the interception too much, but no, I agree. He probably is elevating his team right now more than any other quarterback, not only in the AFC but in the entire NFL. Maybe Dak, I suppose, over his last stretch. But I don't disagree with that at all. Their protection is also average, middling. I mean, Gabe Davis having an offer today is just always bound to pop up here and there. They're they're not Chiefs level bad, but it's it's not Allen. Allen's the least of my concerns. Buffalo. So no, I like the take. You've been on it. I think you're on the right track to where at this point, like just getting in the dance, I think it's going to be pretty wide open come playoff time. Like I don't think it really matters that much. Obviously, the buy is always nice, and so like buying low right now on a team that could sneak in is probably the way to view it. I don't know. Their defense was good today, but it's not a very good unit. And yeah, I just worry what Allen has around. I mean, dude, he targeted Latavius Murray and Ty Johnson like 10 times today. That
Ty
happened.
Johnson had some plays today. Ty Johnson made some plays.
Did he?
That was actually, I think, an impressive part of this this game for the Bills was that Diggs got locked down. Like that was an incredibly impressive game from remind me of his name.
L'Jarius Sneed was a couple of them.
Sneed. I kept wanting to say Linus Sneed. I knew that was wrong. L'Jarius Sneed. And they were still able to score enough points to win that game. James Cook, I thought getting him out there as a wide receiver was really important. They have, Kincaid, and I thought, Ty Johnson made some plays there. But I do think it's interesting that none of us mentioned the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, we'll see them play tomorrow. By the way, there's a rumor out there that I am like 5'8". I am not, in fact, 5'8". I'm many inches taller than 5'8". I just want to be extremely, extremely clear. Okay, let's get into some MVP conversation. So here are the odds currently at FanDuel Sportsbook. Dak Prescott plus 150 is the MVP favorite. Brock Purdy is 2-1. Tua 8-1, tied with Lamar and Jalen Hurts. Tyreek Hill is 10-1. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes are both 16-1, and Christian McCaffrey is 50-1. Who wins the MVP, and is there anyone that you would bet on at this juncture? Brad, we'll start with you.
I'm surprised. I was talking earlier today that Dak could be the favorite after winning this game tonight. Obviously, he is now, but Purdy obviously put up a great stat line as well. The pick to Julian Love wasn't the worst interception in the world. A nice play, I thought, by Love. Unlike the other safeties in Seattle who can't cover or tackle, apparently. There were some chucklers in that one. But anyway, it should be Dak right now, but I'll be honest, it should be Tyreek Hill. This obviously is the most valuable quarterback award, and I get that, and so he'll win Offensive Player of the Year. But I think it's legitimately Tyreek Hill.
I 100% agree with Brad. I'm on the Tyreek train, and also I think there's a chance that I think the Cowboys have a pretty tough ending to their season.
Mm-hmm.
Dolphins is also pretty difficult. 49ers I would say pretty easy. Cardinals, Ravens, Commanders, and Rams, so they'll be favored in all of those games, and the Ravens are the only tough one. So Purdy could end up as the number one guy in terms of total EPA and things like that. But if Tyreek breaks the single season receiving record, he should be MVP. And like I said, with the Dolphin schedule, it is after this week, which is a really easy game against the Titans, it will be a tougher stretch to end the season. So I do think there could be some recency bias when it comes to Tua, having to play the Jets, that's a tough matchup. And then Cowboys, Ravens, Bills to end the season, they're probably not going 3-0. If they go 3-0, then yeah, Tua will probably be in the conversation. But I do think there's a very good chance that Tyreek is going to break this receiving record. And if that does happen, I do think he should be the MVP of the season.
I thought he was pretty clearly the best value on the board, right? So you mentioned the Cowboys' tough schedule. So that's going to make it kind of hard. They're also not going to win their division in all likelihood and, not be the number one seed, obviously. So that's tricky. The Dolphins are much more likely, are going to win their division. They're not going to probably get the one seed, but they have a chance. Brock is interesting because he's got one big game left on TV, right? It's going to be that Ravens game. If he goes out there and dominates in that game, and they are just so dominant overall for the season, his stat line will look very good, I think. It's going to be hard not to give it to him. I think Dak should win it. I'm actually kind of surprised he's the favorite right now. I just think looking at that schedule, it's going to be very, very tough. Honestly, taking a flyer on like CMC, if he has some crazy game, like crazy couple of games, I don't know. I think it's going to be hard. I think there are two things that are challenging for voters. One is going to be voting for a, Mr. Irrelevant who plays with such a talented supporting cast, and voting for a guy like Tyreek Hill. Like, I think those two things are going to be tough. And remember, these are human beings that are voting for this. Christian McCaffrey has A pluses across the board in everyone's mind from a public relations standpoint. So I don't know. I think that would be one that I would throw a few, maybe like a half unit on if I were betting this market right now.
I'll say this: if Purdy lights up Mike McDonald's defense after, obviously, again, Stafford was good today, but like he's shut down a bunch of very good quarterbacks throughout the season. If Purdy lights them up, like, does he deserve it? No, but like I would be like, you know what? All right, like he's like Arjun said, he's going to lead the NFL in total EPA. He's going to lead in a bunch of various metrics. Do I think he's elevating his offense more than other quarterbacks? No, but it's also, we've gone a little bit too far and like think you can just drop anyone in and they're just going to, average 10 yards per attempt and go for 303 like every week. Like that's also not the case.
I have a hard time understanding what's the path for Jalen Hurts to win this award. I don't see one. And what's the path for Lamar to win this award? Like, someone in the chat was saying, if the Ravens and 49ers are one seed, that Lamar has the best chance of anyone in the league to get it. I struggle with that. I don't think his stat line has been that impressive. And I don't think he's had enough highlight moments. We just haven't been talking about him. He hasn't been in people's minds. So he's really got one game against the Niners. If he goes out against the Niners and puts up a historic performance, then maybe. But I think both he and Hurts are pretty valued at 8-1.
I agree. It's more tied to their team's record than they actually having, And Hurts doesn't have a good defense he's working with. Obviously, I think Lamar, people will say, he's working with maybe the best defense in the league or one of them, and that helps. So,
yeah. All right. Let's get to it. We have a full slate this week, so we'll need all the time that we can get. A strong week. I'll pull this up for everyone here to see, as we always do. We guess the lines, and then we place bets on the games that we like the most early on a Sunday night, or late on a Sunday night, early on a Sunday morning, or Monday morning. And we track these. I was dominant last year. I have to bring that up because I am not dominating this year. This is what we looked like in week 14. Screw the Eagles and their multiple turnovers. Arjun had a very, very strong week.
George, we can't. Oh, there we go. Okay.
I got it.
Okay. Thank you, Brad, with the assist.
Yeah.
Yes. So here you can see the Eagles are the only blemish on my scorecard. The Indianapolis Colts, who have been a ride or die for Arjun, both he and Brad down. But here is where we sit. Through week 14, it is getting down to the wire. I may have some kind of an outside chance. Right now, the most profitable person to back on Sunday night / Monday morning is Arjun, closely followed by Brad. And I'm being kind. Last year, I led the way. So this year, I want to make sure someone else has an opportunity. Okay. We are on to week 15. We have multiple Saturday games, 3 Saturday games, of course, a Thursday nighter, and then a Sunday nighter and a Monday nighter. So Thursday night, I believe this is going to be Easton Stick. Is that correct?
Most likely. I mean, Herbert fractured his index finger on his throwing hand. So the Chargers are 5-8. If they play Herbert, like that is like kind of like malpractice in my opinion. So they've already had some run-ins with some quarterback issues in the past. I think they just sit him and let the season ride out.
Yeah. Don't let Tyrod's doctor anywhere near Herbert's hand. Is that what you're saying?
All right, Brad, would you make Raiders Chargers in Vegas?
Easton Stick, Aiden O'Connell. Yeah, I had Raiders -3 coming off a shutout against Minnesota.
just a dominant performance.
I also had Raiders -3.
Yeah, I give them the hook. I have Raiders by 3.5. Look, AOC didn't do well against the blitz. I think it's going to be a new world facing that wonderful Chargers defense, and perhaps they can do a little bit better than that. So I have 3.5 here. Is there a line? There is. It's looks like it's 3 in most spots. Look, I don't know much about Easton Stick, but I'm not going to bet on Aiden O'Connell. Not going to be able to do it. Any of you guys have a take on this game?
I want to hear Arjun's thoughts first and foremost.
Yeah, well, you've never heard Easton Stick because Justin Herbert and Phillip Rivers are like two of the most Iron Men quarterbacks in the league, so they never really miss time. He's kind of like a mobile dual threat type guy. Like, he can run a little bit, but obviously the offense is catered towards Herbert. Stick had a really nice deep throw to Quentin Johnson, but that was about it. Horrible pocket awareness, late on throws. He's not a good quarterback. I'm not going to bet this, even though I think the Raiders win. I think it's probably going to land on 3, so it'll probably just push, and I'm not trying to deal with that.
It was sandwiched between Carson Wentz and Trey Lance at North Dakota State. He was the quarterback between those two.
Mm-hmm.
I think his biggest accolade you hear about, he's great on scout team. He can give you a look. He can give you a look, George. And that's about it. That's about all you hear about Easton Stick. Yeah, I'm staying away. I have no idea.
Easton Stick is the name of a character in the next rendition of Friday Night Lights. That's what Easton Stick is. I'm actually surprised I haven't met more kids between the ages of like 8 and 12 named Easton. Maybe I just don't meet enough kids between the age of 8 and 12, but like seems like a pretty popular name. Actually, Stick, I think, could be a popular name as well going forward. Okay, that's enough time spent on that game. Let's go to the Saturday slate. What a slate it is. Minnesota, Cincinnati. Is this going to be Nick Mullins? Do we have any word on that?
Assume so. Josh Dobbs was 10 of 23 for 63 yards today. They kind of already obviously were leaning towards maybe not even starting him in this game to begin with. Mm-hmm. Mullins came in, made a couple nice throws. He also probably has, 2 turnover-worthy plays at least out of his 10 attempts, but he did make some nice throws to his credit. I would assume so. Yeah, Mullins was supposed to be the backup at the beginning. He just had that injury or whatever it was that kept him out for quite a while.
They should just fly Josh Dobbs in from Arizona every day before the game.
He knows too much. He knows too much. Yeah, they should change the verbiage in the playbook and then start Dobbs again and see what happens. Anyway, speaking of elite backup quarterbacks, Jake Browning, the flying Jake Browning. I went over the number. I went -3.5 because I am a believer in these Bengals.
I also went over 3.5. Or I went 3.5. Sorry, yeah.
I went 3.5 as well. Are you guys saying you think it's going to be 3?
I thought it was being bold. Yeah. Oh wow.
FanDuel at 3.5. I see Circa at 4. Bookmaker at 4. We'll call it 4 actually.
Yeah, DraftKings is 4 as well.
Look, Nick Mullins, a guy that averaged 8 yards per attempt with Kyle Shanahan. I'm not sure that Kevin O'Connell can quite do the same. But look, I get that Jake Browning beat the Colts today, and I thought he looked very, very good. But I'm not yet totally buying into it.
Yeah, so this is the key for me. Just put the comment on here. Justin Jefferson left the game, and I don't know. I guess they did win, so they are still alive. I just feel like I'm not entirely sure he plays. Got ruled out fairly quickly. Short-ish turnaround to a Saturday. He's still not paid. He's catching passes from, Nick Mullins in theory. Yeah, the first pass he threw was a tipped pass to TJ Hawkinson. It was probably a turnover-worthy play explosive to TJ Hawkinson. So I'm going to do it. Maybe I'm overreacting, but I also just feel like Zach Taylor and, Brian Callahan were like, oh, we can scheme stuff up for our quarterback and make it easier on it. They didn't know they could do it with Joe Burrow. So maybe next year it'd be great to know. But anyway, they've been cooking.
Yeah, let's just leave this comment up for the rest of the show, if you don't mind. But yeah, like the big thing here, obviously, the reason I bet on the Vikings last week or this week was in O'Connell. I thought was going to struggle against the blitz, and he did. Jake Browning against the blitz up to this point has an 88.2 PFF grade, which is the second highest in the league. So he's obviously very adept at handling the blitz, which is something that I think could play into his favor here. Yeah, I mean, like Brad said, it's a lot of like easy stuff. Like Chase Brown and Joe Mixon both had like 40-yard catches off screens. I'm not all the way saying that the Bengals defense is back, but like, they did look okay against a solid Colts offense today. And yeah, just the uncertainty at quarterback. I think Justin Jefferson was also taken to the hospital. I'm not sure if you mentioned that, Brad, but
Yeah, just got posted in the comments. I missed that, but yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like
It did not look good.
so yeah, I think at 4 I kind of like it since he's rolling. So we'll bet them right here.
It's interesting. I saw that same data point on Browning versus the blitz, and at first I was like, oh, cool opportunity to take them. But there's a difference, I think, in facing a blitz with Jacksonville and Indy and what he will face with Flores and Minnesota. Like a pretty dramatic difference in that they blitz all the freaking time, and they really do a great job of disguising and confusing at the line of scrimmage. I think you'll handle it a hell of a lot better than Nate O'Connell. So let me put it that way. System QB Joe Burrow. There you go. Pittsburgh and Indianapolis. This one is in Indy. Do we get Trubisky again? Is that the?
Yeah. Kenny got tightrope surgery, so I would guess at least this week and next week, at like best case scenario, is he misses 2 more.
Brad, would you make this?
I couldn't do a full field goal. I went Colts minus 2.5.
I also went 2.5.
Yep. I would be stunned if it is not 2.5.
Yeah, I agree.
And it is 2.5. Any thoughts here? I think I don't think that Trubisky is the guy that I want to tease a game with, based on what I saw from him thus far. Let me put it that way.
That's actually a good point. A larger point of like he's an extraordinarily high variance player.
Yes.
So like you're not getting a ton of value by just adding 6 points to your spread there. Yeah, I agree with that. He was just abysmal. Also, like truly just as bad as it gets. It's also like Shane Steichen and Mike Tomlin it's a mismatch in terms of game management. You can ignore the other stuff, but like game management wise, it's a mismatch. I don't know, Arjun. Are you backing our boys, or are we afraid of them now?
Look, I think I'm going to with the Colts again. I don't really feel good about doing it, to be honest, especially since Pittsburgh has all that rest. But Watson, the concussion protocol, he may or may not play. Grover Stewart is back now for Indy, so I think Pittsburgh is going to be in a lot of 3rd and longs, which we saw they struggled a lot against the Pats' elite run defense. And I'm not saying the Colts have a great run defense, but with Grover Stewart, I think that helps a lot. And I don't think the Steelers just have the receivers to take advantage of a kind of like weak Colts secondary. Like I think the Colts lost today just because like their secondary guys aren't great, and like I know Chase didn't have a big day, but like Higgins had a deep pass. But yeah, I don't believe in the Steelers offense at all, even with the coordinator change. Trubisky sucks, and I think they're going to be in a lot of obvious passing situations that I think will benefit the Colts here.
I think both Watt and Highsmith are in the concussion protocol.
Yeah, or I think Highsmith got hurt. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I forget if it was concussion, but yeah, that's also good.
I think it was neck injury, which I think like usually could get you into the protocol.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm riding with you. We have to. It's our Colts.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. This is the Tomlin special. That's what this is. Especially on a Saturday. Typical Tomlin.
Yeah.
Denver goes to Detroit. Denver somehow wiggling their way into playoff contention has been truly impressive. Sean Payton has some sort of deal with the devil.
They might win a playoff game too. Like
it's absolutely incredible.
I want to look at the schedules. They could win the division too at this point. I mean, they're 1 game back of Kansas City.
They are one game back of the worst supporting cast to ever support a generational talent at quarterback. And all of you people who keep telling me that Mahomes deserves all of this blame and that he's a system quarterback, you can get off my lawn. Please
sad.
stop.
It's
Please
one of the
stop.
sadder sectors of Twitter that like jump on like Mahomes, like he's not perfect. He had some bad throws today, but like just like take a walk outside. The guy's elite. Relax.
Literally go watch a football game one time.
Like one time. Yeah, I know.
It's absolutely incredible.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And they're all going to say that we're doing this as the media. We're just backing Mahomes because that's just the group think that Desmond Ritter at 360 today. Don't sleep on it.
Dude.
Anyway, Lions. I went Lions -5.5. Probably too much.
I went Lions -4.5.
That is what I did as well. I felt like that had to be the number. It's 4 at FanDuel. So we'll make it 4. Look, I think we were all over the Bears in our conversations on Wednesday. We talked about them. We took them in circa millions. I think there were a lot of reasons to believe that was a poor matchup for the Lions. I guess the question here is like, is there something off with the Lions? Goff has not looked good for a while. I think last 4 games he's been sub like 70 PFF grade. Has not been great. Amon-Ra St. Brown couldn't catch the ball today. It was very, very strange. And their defense looked pretty abysmal today. As much as I want to take the Lions here, I'm staying away. I don't know.
No, their defense is like since week 7 is like a bottom. They're bottom of the NFL in EPA per play. I think it might be last now after today's game. They're bad, and I mean the Bears are elite. So obviously, like today was there's a statement loss from Detroit. Like obviously it was a respectable loss for Detroit. Like they're playing a juggernaut. Anyway, no. The thing too that I'm thinking here, kind of silly, kind of dumb, but not really. Like Dan Campbell's a Sean Payton protege for a while in New Orleans, as was Aaron Glenn, was a DC for a while. Like I just feel, or I guess not DC, but whatever. I just feel like Sean Payton's gonna know what buttons to push, and the Lions are just not playing good football right now. It's in a dome and all that, yada yada. But and Denver's not good either. But yeah, I'm staying away.
I was thinking about betting this since it's at 4 with the Lions, but I'm also going to present another data point. Jared Goff's passing grade against the blitz this year, 56.3, which ranks 34th, below Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Zach Wilson, and Tyson Bagent.
Great.
There is like when I say like there's not a single starting quarterback below him, like there's not like a quarterback that I'd rank in my top 16 below him. So he's with a bunch of people who should be backups in this league, but that's where he ranks versus the blitz. I'm not sure anyone watched the Chargers game. I don't blame you if you didn't, because there were better games on. But Vance Joseph is legitimately scheming up guys. Like there are free rushers. There's this guy Jaquan McMillan that's like a legit baller right now. Like he might be.
You're the one get called back today, but it was a sick play.
So he is going. I think Vance Joseph's been in his bag. He's going to cause some problems. I'm going to regret doing this, but I kind of like the under here. The Lions run defense, I think we thought would be a problem without Ali McNeil. The Bears had a 25% rushing success rate today. So, not like they did, the Bears didn't really do anything. And Sean Payton, wants to take the ball out of Russell Wilson's hand. This is a pretty high total. Again, like it's 47 on FanDuel, 46.5, I guess, at other places. So yeah, I'm gonna take the under 46.5. I'm gonna hate myself for it, but
no, I like that because I was going to mention. I know obviously we had Sutton. Like Sutton keeps randomly catching one bomb a week, but like I don't think in general Denver can take advantage of the Lions secondary. Or like Courtland Sutton's still having these 50-yard bomb touchdowns with 0.0 feet of separation and just makes like great plays. And like that's cool. Like it's cool. Like Jerry Jeudy was just terrible again today. I just don't know that they can take advantage of the Lions. I mean, like if you put Jerry Jacobs one-on-one against DJ Moore with no safety help over the top, like that's not an ideal approach. But I'm with you. I'll let you take it by yourself, but I think that's a good bet.
I have an interesting thought here for you guys. What odds would you give me right now on Jared Goff being the quarterback of the Lions next year? Is he playing? What I'm getting at is he playing for his job right now?
Let me look up. I mean, Hendon Hooker is active. He's in practice now. They're getting a look. So here's the thing, George. I think the better question is, do they extend him this offseason? Because he's under contract next year, right? So it's like 1 year, cheap, 22 mil. For me, it's like, yeah, I agree with the comments. Like, he'll be on the roster, no question. But the question is, do they let him go into like a, sink or swim year, or do they try to sign him to a Daniel Jones deal? I think that's the like better angle, at least in my opinion.
Is Hendon Hooker at age 37 really the the heir apparent? So my take here would be, I think this is a fairly deep quarterback draft. And I don't know. I would think about it. I don't know. I like Hendon Hooker, but I think it's a bit aggressive. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting. If he really struggles down the stretch here and like has an ugly playoff loss. The thing with Goff is that when he plays poorly, it looks helpless.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's funny. Like when Mahomes plays poorly, a lot of the times when people get mad, oh, you're blowing Mahomes. No, dude. Like a lot of the time when he plays poorly, it like he still has, it's like almost impressive in the way that he manages to still like stay alive. Goff looks dead. Like I feel like that's part of the reason they got rid of him in LA was like, dude, when it's not going well, it's like a complete, like it's a total train wreck. It's hopeless. You feel bad for him.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna. I was done.
It could not be more spot on, and I actually think it ties into. It's a little Kirky, and like Kirk also just like when it's going poorly, like it looked worse, and I think he got more ridicule because he's like not the most athletic guy in the world, and so yeah, Goff, his bad plays look less aesthetically pleasing than a Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, no, it's a very good point, honestly.
Hendon Hooker, Jesus.
Anyway,
all right, we finally made it to Sunday. Two great quarterbacks face off on the hallowed grounds of Foxborough. Mahomes, Zappy. What a game this is going to be. Kansas City and New England. Brad, what'd you make this?
I went Patriots plus 9.5.
I went Pats plus 8.5.
I went Pats plus 7. And I wanted to make it 6.5. I really did. I wanted to make it 6.5. How in God's name are the Kansas City Chiefs beating anyone by a full touchdown? They can barely score a touchdown. Are they going to make it to this game? Are they getting on the Bills charter back? Maybe they can teach them a thing or two about communication. Where is this? Here we go. I see 9.5, 10 at Circa, 10 at Bookmaker. We'll call it 10.
I wanted to do the full 10, and I also, George, I knew like you have to take Bailey Zappi now, right? Can we just let's jump to that?
Bailey Zappi. Give me Bailey Zappi and the New England Patriots getting 10 full points. 10 points. What's the total in this game? The total should be like 34.
It's 37.5. The Chiefs are in a game with a 37.5 point total.
It's correct.
Yeah.
They do not deserve to be 10-point favorites against anybody besides the Carolina Panthers, and maybe even not the Carolina Panthers.
I'm excited to get to that conversation.
Holy God.
I think us three and 8 other PFF employees could be like minus 2.5 against the Carolina Panthers.
Could they beat a WNBA team?
On a neutral field.
I don't know. I'm not trying to be like super hyperbolic or hot takey here, but look, Bailey Zappi, not great. I didn't think he looked particularly fantastic, but was certainly serviceable. They should get some players back. They have a few extra days of rest. They're clearly still trying to be competitive in games. Are the Chiefs really running away on the road? I don't think so.
Plus Belichick, Goes on game day. Navy loses, so he's fired up. I was thinking about that too. They didn't announce it until Friday. So if they lost that game, do you think Bill? Like we never know, Bill was going to be the guest picker, and somebody else goes on.
Yeah, maybe.
Probably. Anyway, George, I don't think you're being hot takey. I don't. I think you're like the Chiefs should not be laying that many points against a good defense with a low total. I think they're going to win. Them winning by 21-17 wouldn't surprise me at all.
I think just real quick, we faded the Chiefs. I faded the Chiefs in back-to-back weeks. I never thought I'd do that. The one reason it's giving me pause here, the two coverages that the Patriots run the most, cover 1 and cover 3. Prior to this week, Mahomes was averaging a 0.45 EPA per play versus cover 1 and a 0.16 EPA per play versus cover 3, which are his two best coverages he goes up against. And like I said, the Patriots run those the most often. We know Andy Reid, kind of destroys man coverage regardless of whoever he has on the field. So that's the reason it gives me a little bit of pause. But I would lean the Patriots just because we know the Chiefs offense has just been really bad lately.
Actually, here's a thought for you, Arjun. You always talk about how Bill Belichick takes away number 1 receivers. Is he going to be confused because the Chiefs don't have a number 1 or number 2 or number 3 receiver? Is that going to kind of throw him for a loop a little bit?
I am curious to see what he does on Kelsey, honestly. I think that'll be pretty interesting to see.
He's got the dudes for it. Yeah, Peppers, Duggar, they have dudes that can cover that type of player.
Incredible.
All right.
I had a question. Who do you guys blame for KC's pathetic offense? Most to blame. Let's do a blame pie. Who gets the biggest slice?
I mean, we talk about the talent all the time, so I guess you have to start with the top. You got to start with Mahomes. Yeah, I get. Well, GM Mahomes gave him CEH, who ran hard today. I don't know if you saw it. He ran hard. But no, I think you do have to go Veach. I mean, he used the second on receivers in back-to-back years. Probably should have realized coming in Sky Moore was not a guy you could actually have in your top 4 receivers. MVS was good in the playoffs. I don't know. Yeah, but it's hard. You can blame Andy Reid or Matt Nagy but it's just the receiving core is just awful. They're just terrible.
Yeah, I guess it would be. I'm a big Veach guy because I think he's built the roster the right way. I mean, there's a lot of great pieces, but I think how the receiver room has been handled maybe wasn't the best way. But I think the process was sound. It's just the results haven't been there.
I blame Mahomes. He was no. Here, watch. Listen to this. This is welcome back to Get Up, Rex. Who do you blame for the Kansas City Chiefs? It's Mahomes' fault. He's too good. He gave them too much faith that they could be good without good receivers, and so they went into this year with absolute garbage. He should be worse. Next topic. Jets, Dolphins. I'm kidding. I agree with you guys. Jets and Dolphins. This one is in Miami.
I went Miami minus 12.5.
I went Miami minus 10.
Oh, no.
I went 11.5. I was inspired by Zach Wilson today, but I've seen enough Zach Wilson to know that's not the real Zach Wilson. I see.
It was not bad, though, to his credit.
12.5.
I see 12 at DraftKings. I thought I was going to be a bit rich.
12.5. Anyone do anything with this?
It's not about Zach Wilson or the offense in any way, shape, or form. It's really, I kind of want to take the Jets. I wanted to take the Jets against the Texans too. Arjun obviously the write up and everything, about the total in particular. We've talked about Miami against physical defenses. And I guess the only issue is they don't really use their corners in that capacity. If Sauce was bumping running dudes, that would be great. But it's not really what he does. I don't know. I'm not going to do it, but this is a great, we can call the Dolphins frauds if they lose game. That's important, or if the offense stinks.
It's also a Braxton Berrios revenge game.
Very important. True.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Jets here. I know I was inspired by Zach Wilson, but it's not even a Zach Wilson thing. We're getting Aaron Rodgers back for this game.
Oh, that's right.
No
Right.
inside info here, I promise. But either way, like I think the game that the Jets played against the Dolphins was kind of an anomaly. Like the Dolphins had so many third down conversions in that game. I don't think that's going to happen again. The defense looked really good today, even if it wasn't in the rain. Zach Wilson legitimately looked like a starting quarterback. And so yeah, and no Jalen Phillips also for the Dolphins, which I think will be big in this game. So yeah, we'll take the Dolphins or take the Jets, riding with some dogs.
I'm taking the Jets too. And when you said Aaron Rodgers, I have a legitimate question. What do you make this if you find out Aaron Rodgers is back in this game?
8.5.
I was gonna say 7.5. Yeah, still over a touchdown.
Okay. But Aaron Rodgers back after tearing his Achilles 13 weeks ago, knowing he's been like rubbing homeopathic serums on it at night. Like
It's still better than Zach Wilson though, by like 4 spread points.
Are we sure?
Yes, I'm very sure.
Okay. All right. Like, would you take Aaron Rodgers in a wheelchair? I
would take him like a walker, maybe not a wheelchair, but like a walker, or like when your buddy breaks like his like fibular tibia, and they do like the half cast, or the half crutch where it's like your knee goes. Yeah, like one of those.
Yeah. I'm taking the Jets as well. I like the matchup. Here's the other thing. Arjun brought it up, or maybe you did, Brad. They haven't seen Zach Wilson yet.
Don't have the tape on him. Don't have the film on.
Last year, I'm pretty sure Zach Wilson was 1-0 against. Unless he wasn't hurt at the end of the season, right? I think they were playing like Strevler then.
I think so.
Like.
Also, the Dolphins play the Jets, but then is their next game Dallas? So kind of a little trap spot.
Yeah, it's Baltimore, which is trappy too. I could be wrong though. It's a good opponent.
Yeah,
it's a good opponent.
I think it's Baltimore.
Yeah, it is Dallas.
Okay.
Okay, and then Baltimore. Are they next?
Yeah,
and then Baltimore.
Okay, yeah.
And then Buffalo. All right. Chicago, Cleveland. I mean, it really honestly is unfair that Chicago is this good of a team and getting the #1 overall pick.
Are these the two best defenses in the NFL? Is that where we should start?
Many are asking.
There's the best in the NFC and the best in the AFC.
You have 60 seconds. What did you make this spread?
I went Cleveland -3.5.
I'm in Cleveland -4.
Joe Flacco has been good.
Named the full-time starter, you saw?
Yeah.
Fish.
I went 4.5. I know this is going to be a little rich. People fall in love with the Bears pretty quickly. Fields, I don't know. I don't think it looked as good as the final score. Let me put it that way.
No, he wasn't that good. There were a couple nice throws for sure. There was like a beautiful throw to Kmet on the left side that was like just what you haven't seen from him. Intermediate shot, good layering, whatever, yada yada. But no, it's just no. Anyway, the total here is 38. You have like the Bears' run defense is spectacular. Jerome Ford, I think, got dinged up at the end of the game too, so you might get like a ton of Kareem Hunt. Joe Flacco's going to throw a pick or two, and this Bears offense might score a touchdown against this Browns defense. So I'm going to take the under 38. And I don't know yet, but Cleveland in December, the weather is probably going to suck. I can just assume. Yeah.
Has to be. I do like that play. Archie, you doing anything with this?
No, I'm gonna stay off just because Joe Flacco scares me a little bit at this point.
You took the words out of my mouth. That is quite literally how I feel. But you know what I can't get tired of is people on social media reminding us that Joe Flacco in 2 games has done more than Kenny Pickett has ever done as a Pittsburgh Steeler. That I enjoy. And has done more than Deshaun Watson has ever done as a
I was going to say that I knew you'd like. That there's been 3 games from Browns quarterback with multiple touchdown passes this season, and 2 of them are Joe Flacco. I was waiting for you to drop that little nugget for the people.
Have they found next on Get Up? Have the Cleveland Browns found their quarterback of the future? Amazing. That would be fantastic. Still throws a beautiful ball. Houston and Tennessee. What do we know about CJ Stroud?
Concussion protocol, right?
Assume he's not going to play.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. And then Nico Collins also got dinged up today. Calf injury, I want to say. And Arjun, he didn't come back, right?
No, it was pretty early in the game also.
It was very early in the game. Yeah, Stroud was weird. He was like in the tent. But here's my thing. Davis Mills, and people are going to laugh. I'm being serious. Obviously, he's not CJ Stroud. But like we talk, I think here's my thing. We talk a ton about Robbie Greer's phenomenal research about not overreacting to backup quarterbacks and all these things. And I think we always say that the second week, once we get like Jake Browning going absolutely nuclear, and they're like, oh yeah, remember the whole thing about backup quarterbacks? Like Davis Mills is a decent backup quarterback in the NFL. I'll say it. I'll plant my flag. Like he's a decent backup quarterback. Anyway, I went Titans plus 1.5 in the spread.
Yeah, if we're assuming Mills, like my guess was with Stroud, and I'm dumb for that. But I think with Mills, I'd probably make it a pick 'em.
I kind of split the difference here. I think there is a chance that Stroud makes it back. We saw Brock Purdy rise from the dead this year in the game week. So I do think there's a chance. And I agree with you. I'm sure Davis Mills will be fine because of Bobby Slowick. I went 2.5. Titans stink.
They do.
They're not very good. It is 2, I see. Yeah. Anyone want to do anything with this?
I trust Slowick. The issue is without knowing about Nico Collins, you potentially have Tank Dell and Nico Collins out.
Yeah,
so then it's like
And Schultz potentially
Schultz as well. So then then it's like, all right, you have Davis Mills throwing a Bobby Trees and like Tegan Catoriano out there just getting freaky with it. Yeah, Brevin Jordan, Noah Brown. Yeah. I want to do it though. I'm surprised actually too.
Yeah, like I would like this usually would be a play for me on the Texans, but also like Bob, our guy Bob, like runs it a little too much on early downs, tied into top 10 run defense by success rate and basically top 10 by EPA as well. Like, I'm not too thrilled about it, especially if I don't trust Mills to bail the Texans out of 3rd and long like Stroud can. He's been one of the best in those situations. So I'm gonna lay off, even though I really want to bet the Texans here.
You do not want to be enjoying a nice NFL Sunday a couple weeks before Christmas and be rooting for Davis Mills to bring you back on the road because that ain't happening. He's a pick 6 on the road. Like I don't know what the odds are going to be on his interceptions, but he's throwing an interception in this game. Not Kansas City. New York Giants, New Orleans Pelicans. They're the Pelicans until Derek Carr can throw for over 100 yards in a game.
Shows how bad the Carolina Panthers are because the Saints were downright terrible today and they blew them out. It just goes like I think we haven't talked enough about how bad that team is. They really are historically bad at this point.
The center was yelling at the quarterback. That's how bad it was, and the Carolina Panthers still got blown out.
It's truly unbelievable. Anywho, I went plus 3.5 because the Saints are wait. Yeah, sorry. Saints minus 4.5. Looking at the wrong game.
I went Saints minus 5.
I'm the only person that has faith in Tommy DeVito, and that's okay. I went Saints by 3. The Saints are very bad. Oh my God.
You just locked yourself into a DeVito bet for sure.
Give me Tommy D. Give me some Tommy D. Absolutely. Yeah, the Saints are a 6.5 point favorite against a team that has not been relegated yet. Oh my God. The Saints could play in the All-State Sugar Bowl and they wouldn't be 6.5 point favorites.
I want to join you.
That is preposterous.
That is preposterous. The Saints, the Giants have been getting no respect on the market, but the Saints like 6.5 points against anyone is insane.
Oh my God. Tommy DeVito has not been great, but he has not been this bad. Derek Carr against Carolina Panthers at home threw for 87 yards today.
All right, I'm joining you. I'm in. Let's go. Tommy D, baby. I'm with you. Let's do it, George. Let's do it.
Tommy DeVito's out here like creating like content on social media about Italian food, really starting to feel himself.
Yeah, with Koosh. That was a great video.
Yeah.
You know who Koosh is? I'm hip. I got TikTok. I know who Koosh is. You know about Koosh?
Yeah, of course.
All right, good.
Yeah.
We're all cool. We swear.
Yeah, I can't really watch his videos because, like, I don't know, there's something viscerally unappealing about watching him eat, but I do enjoy the content.
Yeah. Take care, brush your hair. Great line.
Yeah, take care, brush your hair, however many Madones or Madrones or whatever it is. I'll say this. I like the videos that he does where he's like tasting food, good. When he starts cooking in the kitchen, that's where it ends for me. I can't do that. I can't do the cooking in the kitchen. There are some people that create great cooking food content, like our guy, Brad.
Yeah. The Sound of Love.
Yeah, The Sound of Love. 75% knows.
Hey, Koosh is a local legend.
Cougine is
I love the chicken cutlet. Yeah, there's a lot of those going on.
The cutlets ended up being number one. I think they were.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of the Carolina Panthers, well, actually, wait. Did we get to you, Arjun? Are you going to join us?
I'm going to let you guys
handle
that. We'll do a social for another game.
Okay. All right. Are you a fan of the Coug? The Couge?
Yeah, I know who that is. I'm not like the biggest fan, but I follow him a little bit.
At some point, we need to rank. We need to power rank the best food content creators on social media that people are asking. Okay. Atlanta, Carolina.
This one I went Carolina plus 3.5. That's what I was talking about.
I went Carolina plus 5.
What did I do? I went Carolina by 4. No, sorry. Wrong game. Carolina by 3.5. Desmond Ridder. Now, I want to be fair to Desmond Ridder. That interception that he threw on the screen pass, it looked like the receivers just were uninterested in blocking.
Yeah.
It was one of the more embarrassing plays I've ever seen. This is 3.
No.
Yeah, look, Desmond Ridder should, like, I know I made it 5. Desmond Ridder should not be, catching 5 or getting 5. Getting? Favorites or what? I forget.
Laying 3.
Laying. Yeah. Ridder should not be laying 5 like I made it. But, like, the Panthers are just terrible. Like, this is, like, a historically bad team. Like, Bryce Young was terrible today. The receivers are terrible. AJ Terrell was, like, clamping Mike Evans for most of this game. I don't know who, the Falcons are going to stick him on. That receiver's not going to touch the ball. But Bryce Young, man, I mean, that guy is just awful right now. So this is probably going to be my biggest bet this week, to be honest.
His last 3 games, which mind you are against some of the worst defenses the NFL has to offer right now: Titans, Buccaneers, and Saints. Saints are good, sure. Passing defenses, though, Buccaneers might be the worst in the league, and Titans are in the conversation. He's 46 of 98, 47% completion percentage for 509 yards, 5.2 yards per attempt. 0 touchdowns, 1 pick in the last 3 against 3 just bad teams. Yeah, look, I actually love that Atlanta lost in kind of heartbreaking fashion and is now coming in laying only a field goal. I'm with you 100%, Arjun. Like, Ridder was bad today, but they'll figure it out.
The thing with Bryce Young, so first off, in that game, he scrambled. That was the only reason they picked up a first down in the first half. Every single throw was into a receiver that was, it's not like it was close coverage. It's like you couldn't see the receiver because the defender was plastered to them so closely. And then I forget, it was the end of the half or third quarter or something. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Mingo gets open. And Young can't believe he sees the guy open, airmails him by 8 yards. It's just tough to watch.
George, to your point, though, some of the pass breakups were like the guys were just standing next to each other. Like, it wasn't like a dive and like, oh, like it was a sick PBU. The guy was just like, no.
they were not a serious set of wide receivers. It is very embarrassing. Let's move on. Tampa Bay, Green Bay.
Packers minus 5.5.
Battle of the Bays.
Yeah, I went Packers minus 4.5.
And see, I thought you guys were the Jordan Love.
Truthers.
Yeah, I had 6.5. And maybe this is because I just can't see Tampa Bay going into Green Bay. I just have a hard, I remember very vividly being a big proponent of Tampa Bay beating Green Bay with Tom Brady. I don't feel that same way about Baker Mayfield. Call me biased. This is, holy crap, 3.5.
Whoa.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
why is this? Is this because Jair is hurt?
He's been hurt for a while. I don't even also side note, I don't know if Jair suits up as a Packer again. I really don't. For various different reasons. Anyway, that's a bet for me for sure. Honestly, the Packers defense is finally starting to figure it out. We're poking fun at Joe Barry as a national pastime, but they've been playing some good ball. They've had a bunch of injuries too. Jair Alexander, Quay Walker, our guy, Devondre Campbell's missed some time, and they've finally been able to kind of. I think it's all up front. Devontae White, I think, has played it's starting to come along. Lucas Van Ness makes some plays here and there. Kingsley Enagbare, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They're like a complete team. It's all these young guys, I think, just playing better. And the Bucs, the interior of their offensive line still gets destroyed. You mentioned Mike Evans was clamped today. Yeah, that's a crazy spread.
And you've got Matt LaFleur versus Todd Bowles.
Yeah.
No,
and it's South leading Buccaneers.
Yeah.
I kind of hope that Christian Watson comes back for this game just because the Bucs have been allowing explosive passes at an absurd rate. And we saw what Drake London did to Carlton Davis, just dunked on him 3 times this game. Not saying Watson's that exact same player, but we've seen Watson dunked on who was it on the Chiefs, Joshua Williams in the end zone last week. So yeah, I think it would be really helpful if Watson was back in this game, but either way, Dontavian Wicks is also a baller. So he's also someone, I know we don't really do prop bets, at least for tomorrow. I don't know if they have a prop bet line for him, but his receiving yards over, I like.
About it. It's so funny because as soon as Rodgers leaves, it's oh wow, the Packers have 5 receivers you've never heard of who are actually decent. It's
Aiden Reed's a legit good player too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really hilarious. Question in the chat. What's the Alexander deal?
I don't know. It's just bad vibes. Every press conference, the guy doesn't want to live in Green Bay, Wisconsin is how I perceive it, which is, what a wild thing to feel.
Fair. San Francisco, Arizona.
I went Cardinals plus 13.5.
I went Cards plus 14.
Nice. Couldn't get all the way to 14. 13.5 for me. It is 13.5. Trending 14 though. Anyone doing anything with this?
To the Niners, George, you know them better. I know this is a dumb question. It's a massive letdown spot. I feel like they just went Seahawks, Eagles, Seahawks, and there's Ravens after this. I don't know. Could you see a bit of a let up, let down, whatever type of performance?
Yeah, maybe. The only thing is that they have to win out to keep the 1 seed, and so I honestly don't see much of it. I think the letdown spot could have been today against Seattle. I thought you saw it maybe for a quarter. No, I think they beat the crap out of the Cardinals.
I would say this one, we're not doing props, but the Cardinals run defense is abysmal. And so I would just look at some rushing props, not McCaffrey. I would even look at Jordan Mason. Elijah Mitchell. Yeah. I would get guys are going to play the second half. Look at their rushing props. That's my
Jordan Mason's going to have a line of 79.5.
He should.
That's going to be incredible. I also will say this, based on what I've seen out of Kyler Murray, this is going to be a nightmare matchup for him.
Yeah.
Because he has not been escaping the pocket well at all. Now, maybe he's, figuring it out over the bye week, but that worries me quite a bit. I'm not going to take the Niners 13.5. A lot of points. You never know. They rest their guys in the second half. So, yeah, I'm staying away. Anyone betting it? Onward we go. Washington and the Rams.
I think the Rams land a full touchdown.
Yep, same.
Okay, I'm still too big of a Sam Howell fan. I had this as 5.5. Although based on how they played today, probably should be a little more. It is 6.5. I'm not going to bet it. I can't quite do it. Just because of how terrible the Washington secondary is. But I do like the matchup in the trenches for them. Yeah, I can't quite do it.
This is the Judah principle for me. So Donald, first of all, is going to eat the interior of the Washington offensive line alive. And then we do, obviously, the interior for the Commanders is very good, but so is honestly the interior for the Rams is playing really good ball right now. Like one of the highest guards in the NFL for us and highest graded guards in Kevin Dotson. The rookie and Steve Avila has been playing well. Coleman Shelton's been good at center. Susceptible at times with some pass rush, but I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
I'm going to bet the Rams, but not their spread. I'm going to take their team total over. So I think their implied score right now, since it's 6.5 spread, total of 48.5. That means 20, Commanders 21, and then Rams 27.5, correct?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Or you do
28-21 essentially.
Yeah. So I like their team total over. They've been scoring points at a high rate. I don't like the over in general because I don't know what the Commanders are going to do, and that's why I'm not taking their spread either because I think there's a lot of variance with them. But we'll do a little LA Ram team total over. I'll call it 27.5. If it lands on 28 and that's consensus, then I'll make it a push. But
yeah, either way, I like that. It's a good bet.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that. That secondary is going to be in trouble. Big trouble. Dallas and Buffalo. Great game. This one in Buffalo.
Great game. I went pick 'em.
I went Cowboys -1.5.
I went Buffalo by 1.5. Best team in the AFC. It appears that people listen to the podcast. It is Buffalo -1.5.
I'm doing it one more time. I'm never doing it again. I'm taking the over 48.5. I think I'm probably 1-7 on Sunday night overs, but I'm addicted. So we're gonna ride one more time.
I mean, this isn't Sunday night, so you're in good shape.
Oh, I meant this show, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
This is the one.
This is the one.
I mean, Dallas should put up a bunch of points, so I think Buffalo will have to score. The only thing that's could screw you is maybe there's some snowstorm or something.
True. Yeah, it is Buffalo in December. Yeah, that's a good point. I'll keep it.
Yeah, I think it's a good bet. Arjun, you do anything with this?
Yeah, I'm taking the Cowboys. And I've been really impressed with them. Dak's been playing really well. I think Cowboys have the athleticism at edge to contain Allen in the pocket. Gilmore looked electric today. I know Brown put up a ton of yards, but a lot of them came when Dallas was up 17. Gilmore on Diggs is going to be popcorn worthy, TV viewing, and I really I believe in the Dallas team way more than the Buffalo team, even though I kind of backed them this week.
Yeah. I think this is an interesting teaser spot, even though the total is high. I don't see Dallas getting blown out.
No, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like they could definitely lose, but I think it'll be a close game. If Dallas wins, they'll get Trevon Diggs. He'll hop out on his crutches and tell Stephon to come join a real team. Like it's good
Right.
narratives, good good vibes.
Aren't really any other legs with which to tease unless you want to go to Houston, Tennessee. Yeah. All right, Sunday night, Baltimore and Jacksonville.
I went the Jags plus 3.5.
Win Jags +4.
I had so Lawrence obviously came back and played in this game. I have Jags getting 2.5. Where is it here? It is 3.5. All right, interesting. I thought Lawrence looked decent, given how hurt he appeared. I don't know. I don't feel like I know a ton about the Jags still. No Christian Kirk obviously hurts quite a bit. I don't know. I don't think this should have crossed 3. People love the Ravens though.
The Jags defense is an abomination, is an insult to the sport of football, and they should be thoroughly embarrassed. You should be on the plane home just thinking about what you did.
I feel embarrassed for saying they match up well with the Niners.
We should be. Yeah, it's a very good point. Since we said that, Arjun, they've probably given up like 0.1 EPA per play. Like
worse.
Yeah, they are a joke. Like their defense is a joke. Like Joe Flacco and Jake Browning absolutely cooked you 2 weeks in a row. You lost to Jake Browning and Joe Flacco. They were carving you like a Thanksgiving turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not on them to win the AFC South. Why do you ask?
Anyone betting this here game, I'm laying off.
No, I'm off. What's the total? 43.5. Nah, I'm laying off.
Okay. Last, we've made it this far without get up, without an intro. So here it is. We've got only 2 hours, folks. We've got a lot to get to, and we're going to start in Philadelphia. Do the Eagles have a Hurts problem? Bart Scott, Mike Tannenbaum, Dan Orlovsky on whether Marcus Mariota is the solution they need.
Forgot David Carr in that lineup also, George.
Are you laughing on his take? Fuck. I guess he might be.
Jesus Christ. No love in Philly. It did not look good for the Eagles. Let's put it that way. Philly, Seattle. This one is in Seattle.
So my assumption was it's Drew Lock again. So my spread is based on that. I don't know anything definitively, but they were talking about how Geno's injury should be like a 2-week injury. So anyway, I'm sure he pushes the play. Maybe he does. But that said, I went Seattle plus 6.5.
Win Seattle +5.
Yeah, I thought Geno would be back. I think you're right, though, that it's probably a 2-week injury. I think he pushes the play. Anyways, I initially had this at 4.5. I'll split the difference and go 5.5. Lock didn't look too horrible.
It was okay.
I see a 4.5 at FanDuel. Wow. Yeah, 4.5.
So Locke wasn't terrible, but I mentioned it earlier, and I don't want to get, and Arjun will get this reference. I don't want to get roasted on Twitter, but a certain safety who was once traded to Seattle back in the day for a lot of draft picks had a laugh out loud coverage rep against I don't know who it was, Ayuk, Kittle, whoever it was.
Debo.
It was Debo.
Yeah, it was Debo. It was just like, brother, like you're as flat footed as a mallard sitting on the banks of the Everglades.
It was tough. It was like those videos you see on Instagram where it's like, this guy's a marathoner and this guy's like a whatever, and the guy just like blows by the dude running. It
was incredible. It was incredible.
It was tough to watch.
Yeah, their defense stinks. So, like, as much as the Eagles' defense also stinks, I feel like I don't know. I don't want to bet it because it could be Geno, and then I think it gets interesting. But if this was Drew Lock and it's at if that spread is them thinking Drew Lock and it stays around there, I'll probably be taking Philadelphia.
Yeah, I want to take Philly as well. Yeah, this is tough. A little DK versus AJB game here. The tough thing is that Seattle should be able to take advantage of the porous Philly secondary as well. And like, if Geno is back, I think they can put up points in this game. So I'm going to stay away. Like, this is the reason the coverage is so important. They have that amazing defensive line, can't cover anything. And that's just going to be very hard to win games in dominant fashion, particularly on the road and particularly against teams that have good receivers, and the Seahawks do. So I'm sure I'll feel like an idiot after this, but I'm staying away. Arjun, you do anything with this?
Yeah, no bet for me here.
All righty. We made it through. It's a full week. No more buys. Only an hour and 15. That's not terrible. Thank you so much. We had a big group joining us this evening. We love you all. Those of you that were with us live, if you listen to us on a Monday, go check out our article that will show the few bets that we like the most out of this group. You can find it on pff.com and PFF app. As flat-footed as a mallard, that might make it on Get Up tomorrow morning. We'll be back on Wednesday evening. We will have another edition of Get Up or Made Up. I changed the title. It's either Get Up or Made Up. I think that's the right one. It will be great. Judah will be on there with us. We love you all. Peace.